Hi there, it's Shell, and today I'm going to show you the basics of sewing in our signatures. So here is our book. We have our 3 signatures and they're ready to go. Let me scooch some of my cats out of the way. Okay, let me show you how I do it. Everyone kind of has fallen into the way that they're familiar with, and I just want to show you how I do it because, you know, maybe someone else's way isn't as easy, or you know, it's not working for you and you want to try a different way. So I'm going to show you how I do that if I can. All these cats have decided that mommy needs love, or they need love from mommy. Okay, the first thing I do is I measure my spine to get my template. So mine is about 2.5 inches. I don't know if you can see it, but there's 2.5 squares there, and then it goes all the way up to about 7 3/4. So I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock down to 2.5 inches by 7 3/4. I'll move my cat again. Brat. I tell you guys. Okay, so 2.5 by 7 3/4. Okay, Bubba, come here. We got him one of those new cat trees for Christmas, and we already gave it to him, and they usually lay up there like 24/7, but you know how it is when you want your mama. Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do now. So here is my cardstock. And actually, let me grab a pen or pencil. And I know a lot of people don't measure. I just think it works out better for me if I do. You know, I'm not real precise, but you know, I just have to try to make it easy for me. And if you have one of these little mats, it's kind of nice. Bubba, come here, honey. I can't do this with you, honey. Get up there and lie down for a minute. So you can, you know, take 2.5 and divide it, which would be what, 1 1/4. So, but if you kind of have a mat or something, you can kind of just measure it up, line it up. And I'm just going to use whatever I can to make this easy on me. So I'm just going to line that up like that, draw a line with my pencil. And it's a little crooked. I tell you, a story of my life. Okay, it's not bad, so it doesn't bother me that much. But I could have just flipped it over, but it wasn't that big of a flip, of a fix. So now I just want to go about 1/2 inch from the outside. So I'm just going about 1/2 inch. I'm just going to slide it over just to kind of line it up just a little bit better, I think. Hopefully, you know how well that worked a while ago. Okay, I'm going to get my little ruler and just kind of line it up. Again, you don't have to have one of these mats. It's just really nice, you know. And I'm going to do the same on the other side, just line it up at 1/2 inch, which really is not that hard since it's 2.5 inches. Okay, so and that's for our 3 signatures. I just kind of want them spaced out pretty well, and I like that. I think that's going to work out pretty well. And then all I'm doing, one thing you definitely need to do is put top at the top, because if not, you know, unless your dots are 100% straight, you're going to have a horrible mess. So, because, you know, like I said, unless it's 100% straight. So I'm going to do about an inch from the top, an inch from the bottom. And the reason I make these like I do is because if I have one that's going to fit another book, if I make some more Reader's Digest books with the exact same spine and making it out of cardstock, I can kind of just use this template instead of having to make one, you know, every single time that I go into every time I go in to bind my book, I can just pull out one of the templates that I already have. So I'm just going to go about right there. What I did is I just kind of centered the top and the bottom so that they're about right. And then I have my 3 lines. Okay, so now I'm just going to put a dot at each intersection. And I'll show you why I'm doing that. Okay. And then I have this little tiny hole punch. It's probably like 1/8 of an inch. It's not horribly huge. So I'm just going to line it up and just punch a hole in each of those little dots. They don't have to be 100%, but, you know, pretty close to where you want it to be. And really, you just need an opening so that you can, you know, do a little drawing. So you could certainly use like a needle or an awl for this. Like I said, this is the way I've started making them, and I really like it. Plus, I like having my template for future use. Okay, that was easy. Okay, so now here's my template. Seems like I cut it a little long, but that's okay. Just kind of rearrange it to how you want it to be. And then I'm just going to use a black marker. This one will not, I don't think it will bleed on the fabric, but you want to be careful. You don't want to use like a magic marker that has a big felt tip, because if you're putting it on fabric, it might bleed, and you don't want to do that. So I'm just going to put a little dot, and if you're using dark fabric, you may want to put like a white, maybe a white ink or something, just something to mark it so that you know where you're going to punch. Okay, and we can see all those really well. I can. Let's bring it up so you guys can see it. There it is. Okay, so now we're going to punch. And what I do is I just have one of those huge yellow pages or whatever books. I'm going to punch on there with this all type thing. I think I got this at a yard sale, and it works perfectly for this. I'm really not sure exactly what it is, but it works. So I'm just going to go in each of these holes, these dots, and just punch my hole. And I just do that right into the cover. It's just easy. It really doesn't take any time at all. But you can use whatever kind of book you'd like to. you know, that, or anything that would work. They actually have these really fancy bookbinding, kind of like wooden pieces, and you can, you know, put everything together and attach it down. It's supposed to go really fast, but this works just fine for me. Okay, so far we got it. That's the right way. So now what I do, I want to just go through, make sure everything is where I want it. So slide things up as I want them, you know, to go. I think I want to change something there. Slide this one up here. Slide this up a little bit. I think I'm going to put this here just because it was on that really bright background, kind of. There's my pocket. Make sure everything's up and down the right way. And that's going about right there. Okay. And now I'm just going to use some of these big clips. And I got this from Gayle Agostinelli. And she, you know, doing this just makes it so much easier. Just keeps everything in place and everything nicely lined up. So I definitely suggest getting some kind of clip. You don't have to have these, but you know, just any kind that you can get helps tremendously at keeping your signature in place. Okay, so we have that. Now you're going to make sure that you're still in the upright position. Because if not, you're going to have a mess. Okay, there's my pocket. Couldn't tell from the outside. Okay, so now I'm going to open my book up to one of the, actually I like it a little bit thicker on the back, a little bit thinner on the front. And that kind of just makes sure that it's going to stay in the right place. So now I just go ahead, I take my little template, and because we put the lines all the way across, I can just go in and draw my line here, or dot here, and here. Okay, so I have my 3 little dots. They're kind of hard to see, but you just want them so you can see them. And I want to go into that crease of the phone book and just punch a hole. Now if you don't make it like really tight like this, you tend to punch out the side instead of straight through. You'll punch kind of sideways. And I think everyone has discovered that. Okay, so we have our 3 holes, one here, one here, one here. So this is the thread I use, and I really don't know what this is. It's some I got from a yard sale, and for the most part it's really, really, really strong. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut a piece. Sister. See, I told you guys. Okay, and I'm just going to go 3 lengths, and that will guarantee that I have enough, and then I just do a little extra just to be on the safe side. Okay, let me move sister here. Come here, baby. Oh, why don't you come over here and lay down? Okay. Oh, trust me, we wouldn't get anything done if they're over here with string. Okay. I'll go ahead and move this so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here. So here's my string. I'm just going to thread it onto my needle. And I really feel like you need kind of a blunt needle for this. If you use a sharp needle, you'll tend to go into the hole where you don't need to go. Does that make sense? So a sharp needle will actually punch another hole. So say you're going in and, you know, you miss your hole and you kind of go beside it, you might punch another hole. So I just do the three pamphlet stitch. It's just a simple stitch. So I'm going in here. Make sure I have this. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I go in the front first. And I know I want this to be in the front set of holes. So I am going. Let me just kind of put this piece under here. That'll hold it for a little bit just in case I need it to. So I'm going to go in the middle one right there. I'm going to hold my book with my thumb. And it's a little tangled up there. Okay. That's good. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom. You can go up to the top if you want to. I just, for some reason, am on the, you know, that's just what I did, is just start going on the bottom. Okay, gotta find my hole. There it is. That was nice and easy. Okay, so then we're going to go back down the one in the middle, because when we're done, we're going to have to, we'll have them together so that we can tie them. And things like usually are not this simple. I usually have a huge mess, but I'm surprised it's working out as well. I probably should have just kept my mouth shut. I tell you, if you guys know about sewing in signatures, sew them in upside down, right side up, too loose, too tight, yeah. So it does take some practice, that is for sure. So I just want to make sure everything's nice and snug. And I go under that first little loop. Just go under with your needle. Try not to lift it up with your hand, because if you do, then you bring in a lot of slack, and that doesn't work. Remove my needle. What I like to do is I go in and I check to make sure it's tight enough, because I have done several that aren't quite tight enough. Do another little tug, tie it into a knot. I usually do 2 or 3 knots. Sometimes I'll come back with my glue and just make sure that's correct. And then I'm going to snip that off. Okay, so then we can remove our clips. And our first signature is really snug in there. See, there's no gaps. Fits really nice. It's about even top to bottom. So now we can move on to our second signature, which is this one. Again, just go through, make sure everything is where you want it. I like to move, you know, some things up, some things down. That looks okay. Rearrange a few things possibly. Whatever you want to do, just make sure they're right, because it is so much easier to fix it now than to sew it in and realize that it's totally wrong. That is so sad. And it's just difficult. I'm going to move this one up just a touch more so that it is in my, so I have 2 holes in it for my, when I'm doing my sewing. Let's do it just a touch more. I think that'll work. Okay, put one down here, one here. And I used to do like 6 signatures, but to me that is just overkill. And I would get so frustrated. So you kind of have to figure out what works for you. There is no rhyme or reason. It's just whatever you're most comfortable about. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our template, kind of rearrange it top to bottom, and put our little holes. Put it over here so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, set this aside, bring back my telephone book, and then we'll punch our holes. Make sure we have it really good and sturdy there. Pointy, I guess. One there, and one here. And I just make sure I got all my holes. But see how they're perfect on the spine? This one's a little bit off, but not bad. But sometimes you'll go like over here, poke a hole, and that's pretty annoying. But like I said, I think everyone's experienced that. I am doing the 3 lengths of thread. Move this so we can focus. Here is my, oops, I lost my thread. Okay, here's my thread. So, and again, we're just going to repeat the process, making sure it's right side up. Go through the center hole, through the center of the spine. You can hold this with your thumb if you'd like. Sometimes it gets away from you and it's kind of... So, through the bottom hole. Here the cat's playing with her toy. That's Sophia. I don't think I've even seen her play with it yet. So up from the bottom, again, I like to just attach this, just kind of weight it down just a little bit so that it doesn't move too much and pop out, because then you have to start kind of all over with threading it. Have to find the first, there it is. Okay, so back through the middle hole. Up to the top hole. If I can get it in there, there it goes. Sometimes you really have to finagle it, and sometimes it just doesn't take any time at all. It just, you know, depends on what wants to work that day. And I can't seem to find my little hole. Let's see. Okay, let's do it like this. Take it out and kind of... There we go. Okay. We have that. We have this piece over here. Kind of want to pull it snug. Uh-oh. What I did here is when I went through the center, I went through my other string, so it kind of like went between the strands, but you can kind of either pull it out and totally redo it, or if you can make it work, you know, by doing it that way. Again, I pull it tight. I like to look and make sure it's tight on the back and in the front, just to make sure I don't have any slack, because I have had that before. And then I just tie it a couple of times. Okay, and now we're going to do the third signature. So let me pull these off. It really doesn't take all that long. I think we've been doing about 25 minutes, and that's with moving cats. Everywhere I go, I have to move cats. But now Sister's playing with the ball, and I just saw Bubba run over there, so. Okay, so we're going to do the last signature, so that's kind of exciting. Again, I just want to go through it. I know I'm kind of repetitious there. But it's really important, because if you think, oh, you know, this one I know is correct, and yeah, you'll find out it isn't. So you just kind of want to take that extra time. Like I said, it's so much easier to take care of the problem, you know, in its raw state, I guess, instead of when it's actually sewed into the signature. Okay, so let's put this like this. Get this clamp down, and we'll get this thing done. So when you're putting your clips on, Gayle Agostinelli has said, you know, do one at the top, one at the bottom, and that does make a huge difference, because it keeps all of your papers like really set into the spine, into the crease. So that really does help a lot. Okay. Then I'm just going to double check that it's all going the right way, and that I didn't inadvertently turn it. Okay. Like I said, we're just about done here. I need to draw my lines, make sure the top's at the top. Draw my dots here. One here. One here. And hold on, let me move the bottom one. It's a little bit too close to the center. And one here. Okay. Our telephone book. One here. One here. One here. That was easy enough. Out of 5. And our thread. Again, you want to do it however long your signature is, times 3. 1, 2, 3, and that does give you plenty. The thread you want to use like a really good linen thread, or some people use a waxed linen thread. Again, I am not sure exactly what kind this is. I did get it from a yard sale, and it's pretty sturdy, so I've always used it. I probably will for the rest of my life, because it's huge. Okay, so we're going in the center here. I want to just kind of secure my little end here. That'll help it, just in case I pull too hard. Maybe I'll catch it, you know. In to the bottom. To prevent that one thing that I did earlier, just kind of pull down on your thread and kind of go in, and that kind of gets your thread out of the way, and you shouldn't have an issue by, you know, going into it. So let's do this. Oops, see what I mean? Bubba, I don't need your help. Come here, Bubba. Oh. Can you let me finish this, and then I'll love on you. Ow. Put it there. See if I can finish this before he runs back over. Okay, so it goes in the back, up, And we just want to give it a tug. Make sure it's tight. And again, I like to look. See how loose that is right now? So again, you just want to make sure it's tight. Bubba, I'll love on you in a minute. Can you wait a minute? Okay. Now I'm going to check again just to make sure it's as tight as I'd like it. It's a little loose here. See how it kind of gaps? So I'm going to pull that. I think I got it. That looks really good. He's patiently waiting now for his mama. Okay, I'm going to tie it into a knot. Just going to do one knot and then just kind of check it. That does look pretty good. And there's our book. All the pages are sewn in, and it's just waiting for some decoration. So that was pretty simple. If you guys give this a try, then I would love to hear about it. Be sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next installment of Junk Journal Basics. So that was pretty simple. I love it. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.